Three, two, one. Let's get it. Upward Spiral. Welcome back to the Guided Primal Sutra podcast, GPS podcast. Today we're talking about how to plan out your spiritual adventure the next time you go. This is the blueprint, the flow print that we're going to give you today. And I hope that you guys gain a lot of value from this. Ryan G is back from Suriname and he just was on
Cheers.
a spiritual adventure himself. And he just came back today. Feeling jet lag, brother? Are you good?
I'm pretty good, pretty good. It was just an 8-hour flight, so it's fine.
All right.
The New
Sweet,
Zealand
man.
one killed me.
Yeah, yeah.
Yeah.
Man, what was your big epiphanies from this travel, if you want to just give a brief to the people?
Okay, so to give context first, so this is thing gonna be a family thing first, but I haven't been back to the homeland in at least 15 years, so I figured, fuck it, why not? And I was told that the mission will be revealed to me the moment I would be at a location. So I figured, okay, YOLO, surrender to the moment, make sure I'm there, safe and healthy, etc. Right with my mom. Now once there, got accustomed, and I believe within the first day I checked in with Usumed to check the mission statement, what challenges would I be facing, right? Now even
Yeah.
before that time, we already realized, okay, I might have to do some prep work, did some rituals beforehand, which I can disclose after this podcast. Um, been on similar intention for at least 3 months. And I keep focusing on the quality of character in the sense of focus on doing the right things efficiently, getting it
Right.
over with
That's the
quickly,
only thing
right?
that lasts, though, is the character eventually, right?
Yes,
Like, of
yes,
course, love, universal love, you could say that too, but it's actually the character that stands the test of time. It's like you go through it, you carve it.
yes, yes.
Yeah.
And the whole quality of character team came up a lot during the trip as well because one, the team of the client got really sick and it
Mm,
seemed that they were affected by some sort of aura change in the company, which I was also connected with. But the only reason I did not get sick was, again, I'm not in another country, quality of character in the sense of I took care of myself well, and SR helps me as a man
yeah.
significantly stay healthy. Um, again, once there, immediately I felt way stronger, going from a
Yeah.
cold climate to a very tropical Caribbean climate, let's say, and definitely the sun helped a lot. And during that period, you and I were doing a lot of Surya oriented things, so to speak.
Right.
And right, I'll read your message in a second, because I didn't really get it. Um, and then basically, the mission had a lot to do with the belonging of me within that country, a country that has changed a lot, especially
Connecting to your
culturally,
roots, right? Yeah.
connecting roots as well. And I believe the media score was I started with 7 out of 10, which is, just because of the way that I am, SR and the prep work, that helped a lot. There was a big potential I would have been attacked by entities had I not done some research beforehand, which I will again tell you guys after the podcast. Um, yeah, that's pretty much beginning of the mission. And afterwards, I had made a structural plan with Sumit in the sense of, okay, what do I need to do to get to 8, 9, and 10? He split it
Yeah.
up into helpful relationships. Hey, Matis, could you turn off your camera and mic, please?
Yeah, sure,
And
sure, sure,
no
sure.
worries, no worries, no worries. And step by step, I executed the plan while also focusing on the missions I've gotten from certain entities, like stay with the frequency that you want to become its frequency as per King Gob, and
Right.
lead by example, so to speak.
This didn't feel like a vacation, though. It never feels like a vacation. It always feels like
Never.
we're being reborn or being resurrected or something
Uh,
is happening with the character. which is
Understandable.
pretty
Thank you,
much any
Matis.
spiritual travel. Yeah.
Yes, it definitely didn't feel like a vacation. I definitely had like moments where it really felt like a vacation. I always felt like my character was being tested, studied, like it was constantly
Yeah.
under a microscope, being dissected and whatever.
Yeah.
And it didn't exactly help that I was constantly being visited at night by the shadows, ancestors. Apparently, also the so-called Surinamese version of the Queen of the Night, which I don't exactly know what she is. I just know she has worked with previous ancestors, including my granny, who's still alive for now. Bless her heart. Um, and there were definitely moments where I wasn't necessarily fearing for my life, but more so fearing for the consequences around me. So I went completely overkill on protecting my environment, protecting my aura, protecting the homes that I visited. Like completely
Mhm.
overkill because the last thing I need is some opportunistic entity, be human or other, to decide, oh, now's the chance to fuck around.
Yeah. You know, so for anybody who's planning out their spiritual travels, one thing I would definitely
Yes.
say is the signs to look for is like reoccurring visions of some place that you keep getting like again and again, like different synchronicities tied to the country, whether it be to some deity, some element of yours, and basically like physical chills. You might even get like
Mm,
emotional release when hearing about a specific place that has like a soul memory thing attached to it.
mm-hmm.
So these are some things to watch out for when you're planning out your
Mm,
spiritual adventures.
yeah, yeah. Uh, the term soul memory. Could you give it a definition, please?
Soul memory is like it's the imprint, it's like what is in the Akashic records, basically.
Mm-hmm.
Um, yeah,
Interesting.
it's
Okay.
essentially your memory that is an encrypted blueprint of every vow you've taken, every trauma, every triumph that your
Mm,
spirit has carried through many, many, many different lifetimes. So it's a
I
bunch of
see.
things. It's Akashic residue and emotional echoes
So
at the
let's
same
say you
time.
would go to a home country where you used to live. I'm assuming that an imprint
Yeah,
has been left on the soul, thus causing a soul memory, correct?
that's right.
Right. So when you said soul memory, I kind of got triggered by it in sense of, oh, well, that's how it felt. It felt like a completely new version was visiting an old paradigm.
Yeah.
That's how it
Of
felt.
course, we love to visit the ley lines of the different. The ley lines are basically like Earth's chakras. You can think of it like
Yes.
this. They're dragon lines of the planet.
Ah, I
Astrocartography,
see.
if you
Yeah,
can
yeah.
use some tools for that. But yeah, we are headed to Sedona, Arizona, which is a hot spot. It is a ley line for the root chakra, the red rock, and the Mars
Right.
energy. So that's going to be very, very powerful for us. And anytime that you get this urgency to go
Mm-hmm.
someplace, it just follow your instinct and your gut impulse, I would say.
Interesting. Um, so there's a reason we're heading there this year, right? How did we manage to figure out that this year is a root chakra year?
Right. So it's almost like you have to understand that what codes you're getting throughout the year, the timeline
Mm-hmm.
of this year. So I understood when this year started, there was a lot of codes around Horus's energy coming through, and like
Mm,
Haru consciousness was a big term that I was tapping into. And
mm-hmm.
then we activated Montu's energy as we
Mm,
started to do work as well. And so then we started to understand, okay, Earth, groundedness, Primal Sutra, right? We just
yeah.
started to see the patterns emerge, and then we finally decided, okay, TXL is all already there, close to that location, New Mexico. So we would we basically planned knowing that there was all of these different things sort of aligning towards us, you know?
Yeah,
So some
yeah,
get visions, others get sick, some feel ecstatic. You know, you can't really
yeah, yeah,
control what's going to
yeah,
happen. They're all signs.
exactly. And I believe you've been talking about visiting Tiksa for like at least 2 years, and it just kind of happened, right?
Yeah, man, I
So
want to
shout out to
scream into a
Tiksa.
canyon. Yeah.
Yeah. Oh, that's a good one. Yeah. I don't know if that's allowed, but let's find out, you know?
Sure it
Now,
is the middle of nowhere. So yeah,
yeah, yeah. So
probably a bunch
TXL's
of stuff
saying is,
going on.
TXL was trying to get us to base that meaning, you know, stay with him for a longer period than just a vacation. That was back in the IMC days. Yeah, 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 yeah. And out of all the places, Sedona was selected specifically because of the root chakra, of course, the Native American lineages, the Shila Shiva, I believe, and the other reasons why we're
Mm.
visiting and the
Yeah,
layout,
like
of
the
course.
on-site rituals that activate
Mm,
actual downloads towards our auric field, our chakras, everything that
yes.
we've worked so hard to build, you know. So some people, you know, let's say you sleep under the stars, underneath some very sacred site one night,
Mm,
right? And then you get visited by a random ancestor that night. You weren't planning it, but it happened, right?
yeah.
And and then so basically like you have to be prepped for the rituals that are very live and direct and in the
Yes.
moment. This is why we believe in freestyle shamanism.
Hmm.
So like, you know, dancing barefoot in the rain, like planting tears into the ocean or river, giving an offering into the river. Or so these types of things that are very impromptu in the moment and nature offerings can be very, very powerful way to connect with the land, the actual energy of the land and the ley lines. Yeah.
Interesting.
Yeah.
Did I do anything similar to that in Suriname?
Yeah. It's interesting because what you record on
Mm.
a trip
Hmm.
are like important symbols to you that stood out. So one of
Hmm.
the pictures I saw, you went for the dolphin thing with your
Yeah,
mother.
yeah.
So that
Yes,
that
the
was
river
the code
dolphins.
of river dolphins. Yeah. So that's like again, that's like a soul mirror, you know. So the pictures you
Mm.
take are like your phone can be a portal or it can be a parasite, right? You have to choose what exactly is its intention, that you're bringing your
Well, same
phone
for
or you're
sugar,
taking
right?
photos.
It can, if you put sugar on a wound, it's gonna heal it. This is one of the
All right.
craziest thing yet. If you overconsume sugar, you're gonna die, you know?
Right.
But yeah, let's continue.
That's true.
You
Right,
guys
right.
want to hear
Also,
about
sugar cravings for Kundalini, right? I sent you that thing. Like with Kundalini awakening, something
yeah,
one is
yeah. This is my personal hell at the moment when it comes to the
don't
sugar
fall for the
cravings.
sugar psyop. Yeah, exactly. Right. But yeah, basically, like you're not returning to your old life after this trip, so you're returning to a version that can bless your journey forward. Like, so you really
Yeah.
have to plan out your trip in a way that you're like, what truth can I carry back from this adventure?
Well, if there's any truth that I could carry back would be in many ways I've become the man I always wanted to become. Not what I
Mm,
expected, but yeah,
mm,
yeah. More fulfilled, more, how would I say? More at peace with things. I even met up with like a few old friends and some I met randomly at parties, and I definitely remember me feeling small and insecure, and then when I was there, it's like, huh, funny.
mm.
Now I'm just looking at you eye to eye, and it's just like, why did I feel so insecure about being even next to you? That's so funny to me now. You know what I mean? Because
Mm.
back then it was like 16, 17, 18, and now I'm like almost twice that age,
Yeah,
right? And
true that.
it was even more than that. It was almost like it was a sincere pleasure to meet him after 15 years. Like, you have clearly grown. What is more
Yeah,
beautiful than that? You have clearly overcome hardships that I don't know what they are, but I can tell that you have done your work. And that's something to be proud of. Whereas I've looked at others, like some cousins, where I'm like, I would never want to do business with you. You're a waste of time, with all due respect. Or disrespect, because I don't like him at all. But we can discuss this later. And yeah, that's kind of what I went through. And hmm, anything interesting I should be saying about the Suriname trip that might be relevant to the audience?
I mean, what was your intention before you went? Like, because we usually declare a download that we're ready
Well,
for.
usually yes, but this time I was surprised because my mom was at a travel agency and figured, oh, they had a 2-for-1 deal, and I'm way too Indian to, skip a good deal, and I figured, well, that's how, then I,
Good
it's
bargain,
it's
huh?
it's 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 that's a
Yeah.
good bargain. I can't
Way
help it.
too
It's like,
Indian of a move,
wait,
Ryan. Yeah.
it's like, nah, and we get some bonus luggage deals. Fantastic, sure. Or maybe never use them, but of course, lay it on me. And that's kind of how it happened. But it's only after the tickets got booked is when I realized, oh, I kind of now have to commit to something I had no preparation for,
Yeah. I
right?
always like to
Because
travel light. Do you eat a lot or drink a lot, like when you're in the airplane? Because I usually don't. That helps me stay in a
on the
theta.
way,
Because when I, yeah,
finish
on the
your
way. Well, when
yeah,
I'm in a theta state, right? When I'm doing like listening to like when I'm cutting screen time, caffeine, I'm just focusing on the walking trance of being in the airport or whatever. Like the downloads happen best when you're in a very relaxed and calm state, so
interesting,
not very frantic.
interesting.
That's what I try
I'm
to
the
do.
exact opposite.
Interesting.
I'm a man on a mission. Every research that I can find, use, exploit, I will. I want to go from A to
Spiritual
B.
opportunist, huh?
Yeah, absolutely. Anything.
Whirling dervish.
I don't even know what
Yeah,
it
yeah.
means,
They're the
but okay.
Sufi mystic dancers that spin for trance-like.
Well, yeah, yeah, yeah. I guess you could
They're
say
super
that.
cool, yeah.
I just want to go from
And
A to
it's
B.
interesting how that's like seen as bad or haram or whatever, like from the actual Muslims who don't agree with that tech.
Well, one, if you go over towards the pre-Islamic period, there's a lot of different um ways that have been suppressed over time. It's
Yeah.
almost like Sufism is like one of the few that still survived that, cleansing.
Well, it's
But
the one of mystics, right? That
one
actually
of
pulled
mystics,
forward,
right?
yeah.
But that's a topic for another time. That's a
Yeah,
topic for
yeah.
another time. Um, to make a point, I like to travel different. I like to travel with baggage. I want to do something. I want to be
Mm,
action man. I want to go from A to B and do everything as efficient and as effectively as possible. Of
mm.
course, there's like a limit that over time I used to like completely max out the weight of my luggage. Now I kind of went like, okay, if we can say like 5 kilos below maximum weight, in case I want to buy something at the airport like tax free, because again,
I
sometimes you
travel
have good
super light,
deals.
bro. The difference between your luggage and mine, like, is
It's
remember
massive.
when we first showed up in the Bali trip? Like, I had like
Yeah,
one small suitcase. You had like three, two, I think.
yeah,
Like at
yeah,
one
yeah,
point,
yeah. I
yeah.
just was looking at you like, bro, we're going out. You need to be
Right. Well,
prepared.
I was also buying stuff there to be fair, but
Well,
yeah,
okay.
still, it's a vast difference based on mine and Brian's
Truth be
travel.
told, half the clothes I
Virgo
bring I don't
versus
even
Scorpio.
use.
Yeah.
Half the clothes I bring I don't even use, but I must be prepared. Like I had a business suit I didn't even use, like business casual,
Yeah,
whatever,
you did.
ties, whatever. Yeah, I was ready for
Just in
anything,
case, just in
just in case.
case.
But here's the joke: the one time I did need it, and we was in New Zealand, right? And I did had my equipment, my suit and tie, or whatever, and it just worked out at one time. And thus
Right.
I still stick to my guns to this day. Like you never know. You never know.
Mm.
So again, this ultimately comes down to what is your preference. And if it works for you, it works for you. Game that works is game that works. You know, it's been proved. Let's say, for me, the challenge was now. I have a Virgo mom, so she wants to be in control, and her way of control is not my way of control. So I figured, okay, instead of just surrendering control and being merely passive, let's actively give her what she needs so that I can do my part. So I'm delegating. You want to hold on to the
Mm.
passports? Fantastic. But then you leave the baggage lifting to me, etc. So instead of having this um power
You're talking
struggle,
about like
let's
travel
yeah.
flow state almost in a sense, because it's like, how are you keeping your momentum alive, working with
Exactly.
somebody else's
Exactly.
energy? Yeah,
Exactly. And it's also choosing your
dynamics of
moment.
flying.
Choosing your moment is very important. In certain things, my mom is way better than me. Like packing bags. I just throw stuff in there, close it, I'm done. It's still the same weight. It's still the same weight, right?
I
She
haven't
folds
been
it.
so
What's up?
like the Nexus told me this to leave anchors for future you. So like let's say you go to Jamaica and you just
Mm.
like you bury a sacred item on the site there somewhere, right? And
Ah, I
then you
wish we
visit
did that.
years later and then you can like find it or you like I don't know. This is just an idea that's coming up, but like
Interesting.
time
Time
capsule
capsule.
exactly.
Yeah,
Yeah,
that
yeah,
would be
yeah.
fun. That would be fun to do.
You really
Well, I
good
think I
idea.
already left the time capsule there by accident because at the parental home, so not the place I
Yeah.
stayed, which is Granny's place, but my parental home, I did some rituals and we had a lot of evil eye or stink eye thingies lying about, so I used that as like an anchor for the place that any negative energy that's being sent to that house, etc., will be reflected, etc., right?
Mhm.
Details will be after the podcast, so feel free to ask. But looking back, I kind of left a time capsule in a sense because when I was in, thank you, TXL. TSL made a joke like, stink eye sounds way too similar to pig eye, which is fair, which is kind of the idea that I want to send back to the ops, so to speak. Like, you send bad shit my
One is the
way,
metaphysical world, the other is the physical world, TXL.
either way, it's a bad deal. Anyway,
Right, right.
right? And
Yeah.
I remember looking at all the people that inspired me then and intimidated me then, and I kind of create my own version based on that in inspiration, intimidation, and I was wondering how would I be if I had those qualities embodied within me as well, like huge
Mm,
capital, my own house, preferably like a riverfront house instead of a merely a beachfront, right? Multiple businesses, and nobody knows that I'm rich, which is a very important thing in certain countries. People
yeah.
that knowing that you're rich, merely that you're well connected, it's very important. And then now listening to what you just said made me go, oh, I was already doing it, not realizing it. So
Yeah.
thus it
Yeah.
becomes something that will be created there. And probably when I'm back there at some point,
Mm,
I will have it in some way.
right.
Yes.
Usually when you get like a lots of epiphanies, dreams about a place, or you're very like drawn to a specific culture, that's usually signs of like a past life, like coming into
Mm,
this lifetime, like it's kind of merging in, like glitching in. So yeah, it's a very good. If you're always like I'm into anime and I like Japan, like everything is. I love Japanese food. Yeah, there's probably something there for you, right? That you might discover there, which will be very different to you just going to a place you're forced to go because your family's going or something. Like
yeah.
so. Make it intentional how you travel. That's how you become the transmission and not just a witness of one. Right? When you walk through your posture
Mm,
and then you speak, you know. So
right.
like I only share when something feels very embodied in terms of
Okay.
the epiphanies on a spiritual travel. So there's a lot of things to cover on spiritual travel, right? Remember when we went to Costa Rica, we had to
Mm-hmm.
stay in that hostel? That was so random, right? We could have picked any other place. It was the closest one
Let's
to the
see.
thing, to the beach that we wanted to like
Ah, yeah,
activate.
yeah,
You,
yeah,
you
yeah, yeah.
remember? And
Cacao
everything
Beach,
worked
right.
out perfectly. Yeah. We had to like
Yeah,
change
but we're
money.
very
We got wet
weird.
in the rain. Oh man.
We're very, well, I also want to talk about, hmm, the weirdness of the situation there, because one, it was probably the most sexually loaded place we've ever visited. It was like very, not necessarily
Very,
in,
yeah,
how would I say this?
unnecessarily, actually. Like,
Well, for
actually.
us unnecessarily, but they did it in a very natural way. Like it's just their way of life. I'll never forget like
Pura vida.
uh well, pura, oh yeah, pura vida, right, way of life. I'll
Pure
never
life, yeah.
forget like when we were in Hakka, like the girls harassing you and calling me gay for removing you from them. I'll never forget it. It was just, I had to like
Yeah.
really stay in check with myself. Like, okay, don't engage. Drag this drunk motherfucker in the car and drive.
That
Uh,
was one night, bro.
yeah, well, it was a tough night for me, man, because I was drunk too, and I
You're
had to
the one
like,
driving. That's true. You had the task of, yeah, getting us home. So yeah,
ah,
yeah.
man,
And it was rain,
and
it's pouring rain too. So
yeah,
it's
yeah,
like
yeah,
everything is so muddied in our consciousness. We just have to trust source energy to give us
yeah.
signs. And honestly, I think that we're so protected, man. Like, remember we got stuck in the mud and then we found a church
Right.
and then,
Okay. So,
you know,
so to
so
give more context, again in Costa Rica, we went back to San Jose, Costa Rica to rest, and then we made a plan to meet up with the shaman who name we promised not to reveal, because that's what he requested, because we're going to do rape and the frog poison thing.
yeah,
In the
Cambo.
mountains because it was like a nice midway for all of us. Now, I tend to be the driver. I like to be in control in certain aspects of the trip, so I like driving. Of course, I'm trying to push it, delegate a little bit more to Sumit over there, but it's what I like to do. Like stay in control, have fun, road trip, and besides the amazing views you would get with the mountains, like completely breathtaking. For me, it was like trying to like discover the puzzles along the way. Now, unfortunately, I did not listen to the locals when they said, don't use Google Maps, use Waze. But I'm so, you know, about my own way that I
Yeah, I was
use
with
Google
my
Maps.
friend Fernando. Yeah, I had a
Yeah,
friend named Fernando who told me that. Yeah,
yeah,
basically you can't. Francisco, my bad. He said basically to use Waze all the time, like there,
yeah, yeah,
because
yeah,
you
yeah.
have to know where the traffic is and what's being blocked.
Yeah, 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 yeah.
Oh
Oh,
man,
traffic, that was crazy too, man.
remember that
Anyway,
cat? Do you remember in the
right,
in
right, right.
the
We're
the
getting there. We're
Rivas?
getting there. We're getting there. We're getting
Oh, you
there.
want to
So we
tell the
went to La
story? Okay,
Rifas,
okay, go
right?
ahead. Yeah,
Thank you, right? So we're going across different orange roads, so to speak, but it's aluminum, right? Like bauxite. And we kept getting stuck, and our GPS especially the Google GPS, kept bugging out. But every time we got stuck, there was someone there to help, be it a family, another man, and every time
thank
we
goodness for
went
Google Translate.
gang fucking goodness, right? Please, like all the love to spirituality, but sometimes you got to be practical. You got to be practical, right?
Yeah.
Yes, spiritual mission, but you gotta stay practical because my Spanish is maybe a 4 out of 10. I can understand, but fucking try to speak it.
Yeah.
It's really difficult for me. Anyway, and every time we would pass a church, we would immediately be followed by a weird thing. Like it was like a period where I almost felt like we were being targeted by some fake white witch at some point. Remember that woman that came down
I
the
do remember
mountain with
with a
and
glass of wine. Yeah,
with a glass of wine, driving one-handed, and we were just looking at each other like this is fucking reckless because it was pouring
absolutely.
rain and
It's so
like
crazy, bro.
what?
And we were stuck in the mud and she was looping around us. We were like, what the
And it's
fuck?
like nah. And I believe that to this day, it's almost 2 years. I truly believe that we were stopped from going up the mountain. I really believe that because if we would have entered whatever domain of whatever dipshit entities were there, and it would have been an all-out war. and I like that
Mm.
idea. So if ever we're back and it doesn't rain and we go back up the same fucking mountain, I would like to, rip their heads off at some point. But again, that is my way of spirituality. Sumit might say something completely different, which I find a bit too kumbaya for my taste, but that's why we become the middle path, where we look up the most productive way.
Mhm.
Ultimately, we ended up using Waze, finally, ended up going back. Uh, And also, which is very important to note, please stay on the asphalt roads. Always stay on the asphalt
Also,
roads.
get mud for your wheels, like your tires, so it's good for the mud. I mean, like get tires that are primed for the mud,
Equipped to handle, exactly, like
equipped
mud
to
tires,
handle. Yeah.
etc. And please request this from whatever place you're renting from, and please do check the contracts, which is can sometimes be a little bit predatory. And also learn the ways of the locals, because New Zealand was the cops were very revenue predatory, but that's besides the point. Anyway, we went to La Rivas. We at some point we finally made it to the bungalow. We had a call with the guy who contacted his mother, and wonderful woman, great energy, and I thought it was Lilith, big sister Lilith, who sent a cat, but this one felt different. And it's the way that the cat followed us and in funny ways just kind of protected us was interesting to see because as I parked the car back, she literally just sat on the edge of a drop or something, and I could just
It was
hear
almost
her
like that
meowing.
cat was expecting us to show up there.
Yes,
Like it was
yes,
almost a
very
guardian
like
of the place.
it was like well, I don't really remember. I vaguely remember it being on like the ledge of the fence and then dropping down to follow us. It could also
Yeah.
be that she wanted food, but it's kind of funny to me. And that bungalow was fantastic too. It was like next to a river. It had very high vibes.
You
Should
had
we
like a
ever go
weird
back?
deja vu moment with the cat. Like you knew the cat from like ages ago or like eons
Yeah,
ago. It almost seemed
yeah.
like.
And you're saying that at the 1936, so probably. Maybe, maybe. It's one of those I want to know, but it's one of those
Probably some
if
kind
I
of
find
Lyran
out.
code or something that we're not even seeing,
Yeah,
like at this
yeah,
point, you know.
likely.
There's always some hidden code that's there, you know. Yeah.
Yeah, yeah.
Guys,
Out of
do I
curiosity.
didn't even check the live chat. Hold on. Okay,
Yeah.
no, there's no comments there. All right. Anybody have any questions on travel? Anything coming up from the audience? Really, really interesting topic today.
Great comment to yourself on this think I won. It's like farting
Oh
on
yeah.
metaphysical pillows.
Well,
Wow, look at
TXL
her.
wrote earlier, SR means something different when couples are trying to get pregnant.
Really? I fucking wouldn't know what that means, man. I wouldn't know what it means. Any questions from the live chat? Ah, thank you. Thank you. Thank you. This might not be for kids. What?
Right. Yeah.
Really? It's completely off topic, TXL. Okay, now I've learned now I've learned something. Okay. That's
I get
nuts.
what you're
Anyway.
saying. Yeah. That's literally nuts.
Yeah, yeah. Whoop, whoop.
All
Anyway.
right. But yeah, you got to
Um,
touch the earth immediately, like ground into the grid as soon as you land. Like if you can take off your socks and shoes and just get on the
mm,
land, the first thing you do,
mm.
it's really going to help you ground to the earth and ground you
Oh,
to the
oh,
grid of the location.
oh, so quick disclaimer, don't be an idiot.
Right.
If there's clearly a lot of junk in the neighborhood, choose a more cleanly place. So be
Yeah.
wise.
Absolutely.
Um,
Yeah.
and anything when there was also a little bit of a challenge at home because a lot of people don't know I do what I do. And I had to like choose my moments when to ground with the earth, walk bare feet on the ground, make altars or whatever. I had to choose my moments. So be, no, as per the disclaimer of these videos, of all this whole series of videos, don't be an idiot.
That's basically it. Yeah.
Yeah, that's basically it.
But yeah,
Thank you for the compliment.
Rizov says, I also feel unexplained connection to lands where my family has no connection to, like it's clearly I've been there in the past. Yeah.
Mm.
I think, yeah, if you listen to your own body, you notice like sometimes images behind the eyelids, vibrations up the spine, a dream at night that brought weird symbols to you. You're watching
Oh
some
yeah.
show that's in a different location and you're like, whoa, like what's happening? Like
Mm.
Shakti's flowing through me all of a
Ah,
sudden. Like,
right. Right.
oh yeah, the
Should we talk about the things that visited me, or is that too much for this podcast?
um we can vaguely talk about it, but kind of not reveal the very details of it.
Yeah, I remember one night waking up. I wasn't in a sleep paralysis, but there was clearly a being, a shadow-like being next to my bed, around, let's say, the right corner, the bottom right corner. Looking back, it was clearly like respecting my space, but clearly curious to who I am and what I am. And me being ever paranoid, going, nope, return to sender,
Mm,
subliminal activated. I don't know what you are, but I don't trust you because I don't know what you are.
mm,
And then later, without revealing too much, it was both a combination of ancestors and, um, how would you say, things that expect you to be a certain way, trying to keep you in a loop without revealing
mm,
too much.
yeah.
And I think I broke whatever loop that was because, yeah, whatever cages are relevant to my family are not relevant to me.
How did you deal
Yeah.
with that entity? Like, in what way did you
Um,
transmute that energy, or what did you do?
well, the way I did it was comes from the principle of way back when you first learned about archons, etc., right? Like, let's assume it's not an archon, but mostly has archon qualities, right? It makes the forgiving process way easier, right? Let's assume it
Okay.
has vested interest in caging. It might even have good reason for it that I might not see yet.
Mm,
But here's the thing. I am not merely of my family. I believe that I'm more than just that. And I want to transcend this. So if there are lessons to be learned, let me learn them so that I can break this loop that you're trying to build around me and just continue on. And I believe it had a lot to do with relating and relationships and wealth and health and all that things, right?
mm,
And the one thing that really caught me off guard was like an Indian movie that was randomly on TV. Everybody was on the balcony. I was just in the living room watching it, and it was almost like the movie was there for me. Now I'm gonna say what the movie name is because I can't even pronounce the title, but it's like an Indian horror movie, and it has a lot to do with the injustice towards women by women. And
mm.
it was creepy when the entity revealed itself in the movie because I was really questioning my reality in that time. And then what makes it even weirder is my granny has a plant called, oh yeah, I was always going to reveal this name, with the same name or association with such an entity. So I'm like, this has
Oh my goodness.
so many levels, and it's almost like what's happening. And then I realized this has a lot to do with the Jungian Freudian
Mm,
term, the devouring mother, which then creates a loop, especially with young men, or and in some cases even their daughters, women.
mm,
Um,
yeah,
Emotional incest. It's like the whole thing, the things they couldn't find off their own partners, assuming men, males, husbands. They try to get from their children or adoptive children or whatever. And then I
mm,
realized this is a constant. Some just have it worse than others. And then I realized, wait, maybe that's the reason why way back in the day, like in tribes, you had a male initiation process where a boy
mm,
must face whatever he needs
yeah,
to face to become a man. He's still in some way um, childlike, right? But now
yeah.
he has the addition of what a father wants to teach him or the men of the tribe.
And it's interesting
But
because
yeah,
institutions have taken that on as a thing, right? Like fraternities or like different, institutions, they even use the idea of male initiation, but in a weird way. Wait, I want to actually explain archons because the Nexus is saying you have to explain that to newbies.
okay,
Archons are basically like the best way I can describe it to you guys is imagine a spiritual AI that's running a simulation and trying to keep you asleep inside of it. So an
yeah,
archon technically is uh like a rogue egregore, yeah. So basically they're like the false rulers of the matrix. You can think of
yes,
it like this. And basically they imitate divine creation. So they end up building fake hollow stuff that keeps you numb, basically addictions, compulsions, thoughts that don't even feel like yours, right? Ryan has random thoughts of like gruesome thoughts sometimes. And I
hmm,
tell him, bro, that's the entities, don't attach to those imageries because they want that. They actually crave that, right? So the
mm,
more you dive into it, it's like the more like let's say you start obsessing over some celebrity drama, archons love that shit, So if you're
mm,
like doing that, then you're feeding them. So when you reclaim your mind and you're like, I'm sovereign. I'm the source. I'm not the subject, That's when they lose their
yeah,
grip on you and they can't do anything because you're so
correct.
in tune with source. Yeah. They need attention like the body needs the spirit. Yeah.
Mm, well said, well
Spirit, the
said.
body's the corpse. Yeah.
Um, the before and after such a trip. Let's talk about that before we go to the outro. Um, what can be said for my recent family slash spiritual trip?
I think it was very good character development work. What I noticed is a lot of your darker archetypes, your shadow archetypes, got cleared. Like Varuna's energy was there. Um, Surya's energy was there, I believe. Because Ryan is also associated with like the Aditya clan or something, at least in his bloodline that's there connecting to the Surya lineage. So there's something very like primal for him there in his own homeland. And he also did Hindu push-ups in the jungle, right? Or did you do it in the home, the granny's home?
Both.
Both, right? So yeah, that's a very good one. And I think once we figured out, like we always look at health wealth relationships. And
Mm-hmm.
so I just tested for Ryan, like what is the next level up in terms of health wealth relationships, and then kind of fine tuned it from there. And then you got all the right downloads and you kind of moved through it very swift once you knew the agenda.
Yeah,
Yeah.
that's the way that I work. The more I know what I need to do, then it's just a matter of executing. But that's how I do my spirituality. I just need to know what I'm dealing with, and then I'll figure out the rest. Whereas Sumit comes up with everything and then usually just flows with it, so to speak. And then I'm just there to figure out, oh,
Mm.
hey, if you just draw a straight line from here to here, we can skip all this noise and just get there faster. Yeah, but that's the thing. What would be the difference between this version of the character versus the version before the trip.
Hmm. I think one of the things was there's a lot more like general confusion about like the energetic forces of that land. Like there
Hmm.
was a general like, man, I don't know, like I'm not really there to engage with it much. When you were there, though, you finally got to understand, okay, this is what they're doing, this is what they mean, and all
Mm.
the things we talked about at the end of New Zealand, the handlers thing and so forth, really applied and helped you in Suriname. So everything stacks in a certain way.
Hmm. Oh, should we talk about handlers for a bit, or is this not the time?
We can mention it.
So
Nexus
handlers like
allows it.
archons are part of the matrix in some sense. Handlers can be seen as agent smiths. People can choose to be handlers because they want to use evil forces, so to speak, or oppressive forces to control whatever for whatever purpose. Um, and
Mm,
some either choose it, become it by accident through indirect or direct entity possession. And in some
yeah.
cases, which I am, hmm, it's like a tragic comedy in some sense. Some are born as handlers.
Yeah, that is TXL is asking, is the devouring mother a handler? Absolutely, because a family member who guilt trips your awakening is obviously trying to slow it down, right? So I think
Interesting.
of handlers as like spiritual puppeteers. They're like playing the strings, the puppet
So
strings
the
instead of
because I
yeah,
don't want to put my family's business out there, the thought that I had, is that valid?
yes.
No way. I still don't like the guy, but it's even more tragic now.
So here's how to spot handlers real quick, okay? Number
Hmm.
one is you feel powerful until you talk to them.
Well said.
Another Another
So
one
is
is
that the
they
reason?
constantly seek your validation 24/7. Like they will continuously check in. And
Hmm.
it's a bit like strange. Like why are they checking in so much? Like, like that level. And re
Did I
like
deal?
another one is what?
Did I deal with handlers there? Is
Did
the
you
one
do
I'm
it with
thinking?
handlers there?
No, no, no. Did I deal with handlers there? Did I face any
You
handlers
did. You
there?
did, yeah. Yeah.
Is the one I'm thinking of a handler?
Maybe I'm sensing.
Interesting. We can talk about this
Can you
after.
reveal the? Oh yeah, we'll talk about it after. Yeah. You so like you start to doubt your own spirituality and your downloads after being around them, and you wake up feeling like emotionally hijacked, like tired, foggy, like
Hmm.
fucked up, like like
Yeah.
then okay, I'm in the presence of a handler. Like you
Yeah.
kind of get that.
It's a set pattern. It's a set pattern. How interesting. I like the asymmetry muscle
That's
testing. Like unwanted energy makes muscles like active. Yeah, 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 yeah. Anything that
mm,
depowers you should be questioned. Anything that depowers you
mm-hmm.
should be questioned. Like, why is this happening?
Yeah.
Yeah, exactly, to excel, exactly. Whereas the opposite would make you stronger. Exactly, exactly. Any and it's the same
Mm,
thing with thoughts and emotions, etc. If a thought makes me powerful, then I'm gonna feel that thought. It's that to the point. But if I feel, let's say I have a lot of thoughts on violence without revealing too much. And sometimes it's hard for me not to be in that realm of imagination and just completely becoming enmeshed with that bloodlust. And then I catch myself and then I realize, oh, okay, this might be some past life thinking I'm not aware of. Let's observe and apply the teachings of Primal Sutra and then let it go. Because I don't need to have the same reaction to the things that triggered me. That's also a big lesson of
mm,
this trip.
yeah.
what's another way
Mm,
of neutralizing karma in a sense was something we discussed between you and I. We haven't exactly made it into a formula yet, but it
yeah.
seems your reaction to things that used to trigger the shit out of you in the past does dictate in some such your karma. I have a friend who is still as indecisive as the day I met him or her, right? And
Mm,
I remember her just driving me insane with their indecisiveness. And at some point during our meetup, I just let shit happen because who cares about what stories are being told? It's mostly about old friends meeting up after almost near infinite time at that point. Being the
mm.
same person in a vastly different situation. And then
Yeah.
in some way finding closure through that. Yeah. Yeah. Anything to say about that, Sumit?
Well, one thing that's coming up is like you don't clear your karma by running from it. You clear it by confronting it with consciousness and, choosing something more true than that past thing that happened. Yeah, embrace it basically. Because it's basically unintegrated energy that's echoing through time, right? So once you face it and you feel it, it flips, right?
Exactly.
Because you become the author again. You're the one with the pen. So that's how you neutralize the
And
karma. Yeah.
speaking of which, that's one of the things I want everyone to do. When traveling, you will be meeting similar situations, very likely more intense than back at home. And it's
Mm-hmm.
up to you to learn how to observe your own triggers, stay calm, and choose the most optimal action so that
Mm-hmm.
you can stay in flow. And there've been many situations during our, I don't know, three, four, probably going to your fifth year, um,
Mm-hmm.
road tripping annually. And there's always going to happen something that catches off completely off guard. And I mean, what caught me off guard the most was so far would be definitely the New Zealand
Mm.
revenue hunting police, where I'm thinking I'm pretty okay when it comes to abiding the law of the road, and suddenly being stopped by the police and him being all gung ho, and then me realizing the only let's imagine that I am in the wrong and he's merely doing his job, right? And the only
Yeah.
next best thing is I can make his job as easy as Sunday morning. That was my mission. Like,
Yeah.
forget about whether, whatever. I want to make him almost go, oh shit, I wish I kind of didn't stop him, which was his reaction afterwards. Because we even fist bumped after, He's a fucking asshole for stopping me, but I also know, I guess they need the money, right? Fuck it. And applying
Yeah.
all the teachings of Primal Sutra within 5 minutes was rough on me because I had to remain calm and rely on all the teachings and my memory from what happened earlier, and then remembering all the coaching I got from all the Kiwis and whatnot. And remember, okay, I'm a foreigner. These are the things they will look at. Cool. What's the next thing? Oh, he doesn't have all his tools with him, which I found extremely unprofessional. Like, listen, it's bad enough you're finding me. Now you don't have all your tools, bro. Fucking come on. Okay, fine. Write it on a piece of paper. This, and this. No, you'll have to need this address. But it's like I knew that specific part of the law better than him. But instead
Mm.
of bitching about it, be coaching, be understanding. In the end of the day, he's probably there to feed his family, to pay his bills. And this might be one of the few moments in his absolutely mundane life he gets to be a cowboy or something, right?
Right. And
Like,
that's why you
like
made that experience good for him because we were blasting Valhalla music and you
yeah,
were
yeah,
like
yeah,
in
yeah.
that
Well,
Nordic
right.
flow, right?
Okay, okay. So new rule, Sumit, never. Okay. We only play songs like this when we're on the highway because it amps me up way too much.
New
It amped
rule.
me up way too much. It's one of those. We're already going downhill. We're already at a certain
Right.
speed. It, if we waited 5 more minutes, it would have been
Yeah.
completely avoided. So again, choose your moments wisely, right? Choose your moments wisely. Um,
Mm.
I believe that would be it. The outro is the outro as always, right, guys? So don't sign up while you can because this is the month that Sumit and I will be starting to do the initial organizational points, booking our tickets, seeing whether we can get a good hotel, motel, freaking things out. Tixel gonna probably reach
Holiday
out
Inn,
to you at
yeah.
some point. Hotel, motel, holiday inn. Anyway,
Yeah.
um,
TXL is also saying like it requires self-love to do that. Yeah, I think it is talking
yeah,
about the neutralizing karma. One thing I
yeah.
want to just end on that is it's about loving yourself enough to stop recycling the suffering, right? That's the self-love that you
I,
need.
I I would like to add something on to that. Self-acceptance before self-confidence. Before I have the confidence, I must accept myself as is, the good, the bad, and ugly.
Totally.
And then from that point, I must first accept where I am to be able to go
Right.
where I want to be. Because as long as I don't accept where I am, where I want to be will not exist. It's the same thing with
Right.
the cop situation, right? If I did not accept where I was in the situation, I would have resisted it way too much. And you know how fucking stubborn I can
Mm.
be, right? But because I knew a little bit more about the situation, I played the Matrix to my advantage, if you want to look at it that way. I
Yeah, it's
exploited the
almost like
Matrix.
I love my character enough that I blank. So like I love my character enough that I grieve my past. I love my character enough that I choose a new story. I love my
Yeah,
character that I can sit with shame. I love my character so much that blank. So you basically like
yeah,
use that as a bridge to move into the
right,
self-love. Yeah.
right. Right. And I believe, at least I keep hammering this constantly. Like, I use every trip as a way to further build and refine my character because, I could lose everything but my character. Um, and in that moment, I knew one of the principles that you should always apply was what would be the most right thing, right or righteous thing to do. And looking
Yeah.
back, it's funny that I chose peace over everything. Not whether something was righteous or not, right? I still technically broke the rules. He has it on his speedometer, whatever it's called, his speed trap or whatever. Um,
Trapper keeper.
so
Yeah, yeah.
what?
Trapper keeper, like the fucking
Traffic keeper, whatever it's called. So
yeah.
he's in the right according to the law. So I'm not gonna win there. But where I can always win is by character. So either I'm the best character there is, or I've just made a new friend. That's how I see it. That's how I see
Mm.
it.
All right,
It's the
I
same
think
thing
we've
with
gone over
the
almost an hour, right?
yeah, yeah,
Yeah,
just about, just about. So again, please, if you're not an adept, become an adept because you are missing out on so much extra coaching and custom tailored things. And the podcast is only the podcast, and the Wednesday channeling is only the Wednesday channeling. The adepts get so much more than you can ever expect. And a lot of the adepts are making their own creations, etc. And some of them, and I'm looking at T-Cell, I'll be seeing in the USA pretty soon. And I'm looking forward to finally meeting the guy face to face after, I don't know, having and this kind of sounds super gay when I say this, a 3 year long distance relationship, T-Cell. Is that it's right?
yeah.
um, so yeah, I'm looking forward to that especially, and this is what makes the manifestation aspect of it much more enjoyable to
Totally.
me, right? Travis Keeper picture.
Mm.
Ah, okay. This is South Park. Okay, I see. So I'm also looking at Shin, by the way. And
Yeah.
other than that, please sign up while you can because after May, I'm gonna start spiking up the prices on both the online tickets as well as the live ones because again, doing this on a budget, especially the
Yeah.
Virgo that I am, I need to keep track of everything. So that's that. And
We also might change the date, guys, because I'm just saying this now because there might be a change in plans. I still have to wait for the visa for um, Europe first in order to wait for that portal to end before I begin the new portal to go to the US. So I don't want both to overlap, but also there's Joey probably coming, which is awesome. This is our
Joey,
first
that's
event,
nice.
and we want Samba to be there too. We want everybody who's
The,
already
it's gonna.
engaged with us to be there. So it's going to be an absolute blast, and
So,
definitely want to have you there.
and at moments like this, I feel like an exhausted old cat. You know, it's like I know it's gonna be a lot of fun, but man, it's gonna be like a lot of management and facilitating on my part, making sure everybody's in the right place at the right time and staying calm. So yeah, that's kind of my role in like organizing all of this, and then that motherfucker over there's role is to make sure that we get the downloads that we need to make sure the mission is successful. And I'm just there to make sure we get fucking there. And it's gonna be fun, man. Cause it's
Yeah,
because where initially it was just gonna be, back in the Bali event, it was just gonna be, oh, we're just gonna visit and be a tourist. It evolved into this spiritual road tripping, right?
yeah,
And I don't know what the
totally. Become
next
adventure. Yeah,
version. It becomes an adventure, right? Because we used to do it with taxis, but and especially in Bali, it was super cheap, right? But then,
yeah,
but then we had to learn how to drive and just navigate the chaos of the traffic and whatever, and just YOLO it
yeah,
constantly. Yeah, so yeah, I hope to see
yeah,
y'all
yeah,
in Sedona. This has been GPS Guided Primal Sutra. May your life never be the same again. Good morning, good evening, and good
yeah.
night. And
Adventure
it's good to
time.
be
Let's
back
go
home.
with Ryan and Zoom. Peace, guys. Much love.
Indeed.
Have an incredible rest of your day, and yeah, peace and love. Upward spiral. May the flow be with you.